What's good? You rocking with your boy Czar, all rights reserved. Now, what we're about to talk about is the fact that Japan has recently had a rocket that fell to the ground, burned up, and blew up upon release. Now, as we've seen in many space situations, this has been the case. So, my question is, if this is the case now, how did we ever go into outer space? And that's my thing. How did they ever make it to outer space? That is a question I believe for the ages. Now, the scariest part about this is that, most likely those people are no longer with us because of the magnitude of the explosion. If you guys didn't know, there's different layers to Earth and entering into outer space. The thermosphere is the hottest. The atmosphere is literally made up of the mesosphere, ionosphere, and a couple other layers that when you're reaching these layers, there needs to be a certain level of, let's say, protection in order for it to work correctly. My thing is, being that technology has been updated, why is it that these issues are occurring? There's many reasons for this, and that's what I want to say, and that's part of what I'm asking right now. Have we ever been in outer space is what the question is. That's why the argument is so refined and it's always going to be there, because these different spheres, they cause such damage to the rocket, and there's been such issues in the past that the question is, if it's so hard now for people to do it, how have we ever traveled to that level? There's different things that occur, as well as when leaving Earth in a very, let's say, particular way, there is an invisible super layer that prevents people and usually causes a magnitude of damage that can't be reversed. As I read more into it, I'm starting to see that there should have been no way that we've ever been to outer space, being that the troubles are occurring at the magnitude they are. Did NASA lie to us? That's a huge issue right now, and as I'm seeing these other countries attempt to do it with the intelligence level that they have, it really makes me think it never actually may have happened. Now, even though this one didn't even get off the ground, we've seen recently, before NASA allegedly, let's say, broke up or stopped the research for whatever reasons they want to generalize or put out there, they were having a lot of trouble with their space shuttles exploding, blowing up, different things, just things that honestly didn't make sense because technology is so far that it shouldn't even be at this level, but it is. And that's why we as individuals who are part of this future culture need to understand how these different hemisphere and atmospheric level effects, when you get to certain levels traveling off the ground, have been issued, but now but in the past they weren't. This actually opens up to much deeper things. It actually puts us in a position to ask even further questions about what's going on. Now, part of the reason that I'm talking about this is because of these people dying before they even left the ground. And it really does bring this question back up. Now, in my opinion, I believe that it's highly subjectable after seeing this Japanese rocket explode that no one has made it into outer space because of the issues that go on above us. And it brings up even more questions. How did we get a view of the Earth being round? How did we get this stuff to occur if, let's say, we have developed countries that are very powerful in where they stand, not being able to accomplish what has been accomplished already, allegedly? Did NASA lie to us? I mean, if you think about it, with the temperatures and different things and the fact NASA had closed down, it really makes you ponder, had they ever achieved this goal? Or are we in, let's say, delusion of what actually happened and what actually happens when shuttles launch? It's all a science to it. And if you study the hemispheres, the atmosphere, the Earth's core, the layers outside of it, and just what's all around, it really makes you wonder, what's the issue now? If you did it before, why can't no one else repeat it? And why couldn't we do it all the time then? there's a lot of black and gray lines around this type of thing, because that was the pride of America at one point. First man landed on the moon, just different things. And the more research that occurs, the more it seems like it's impossible to actually make it outside of it, let alone studying the thermosphere. It's like, what rocket did we create that combats that? Japan didn't even create a rocket that could get off the ground without exploding. We had other countries like Russia saying they did it, but literally we don't have any proof of it. You know what I mean? There's not really anything to say, oh, Russia made it. So where's our proof that America did? And this is a huge thing, because I feel the first people that are actually able to create the rocket that leaves on camera without it exploding and people dying, or them saying someone else it exploding, re-entering, is just no proof except us seeing people die in rockets. And this is something that is going to affect the overall versatility of the country we live in. It's going to affect the overall well-being of the future, and who's the next science whiz or genius to create a manner of travel that works that way. In my opinion, it will be easier for everyone to attempt space and time travel, well, actually time travel, than space travel. Because the thing about it is, with these hemispheres and atmospheres, as you do research, it's too hot, it's too elevated, and we created airplanes, but those can only go to a certain level as well. There's nothing cut and dry to show any proof that it's accomplished or doable. And what's doable is what matters in the end, and nothing else. You know what I mean? It's what's doable, what can be accomplished. And I just don't see any evidence pointing towards it, especially being what I just watched. You know, it's all a science to it again. And I think this is a terrible thing that happened to them. I hope their families are good, but it really does open up to other factors to be questioned. And that's the thing. When questions aren't answered in a full manner, and there's so many open areas, so many open conclusions, it really leads me to believe that everything may have been a hoax. The fact that NASA shut down, if space travel occurred once or twice, there should be no reason that it shouldn't be able to be done again. And it's a real curious factor. It has a lot of black and gray lines mixed in it. Once again, there's too many open-ended questions for me to say, oh yeah, we did this or did that. But I do know one thing that was very advanced when dealing with space was the fact that we had 3D technology all over was put together to a way where we advanced to a certain level. I don't feel like it's possible. I don't feel like it should be no country that did it yet, or no place that was able to accomplish it if it was such an easy feat. There's also a lot of people that have died trying to do it. So back in the days, you want to tell me that it was clearly possible, but they couldn't get it right in the future? That doesn't make sense. We've seen movies have gotten better. We've seen cars have gotten better. Innovation is part of the countries we live in. So how did they skip innovation to the level where now we can't even see that innovation in the products and the chemistry of certain technologies that we have today? It's too much in question to open-endedly say that all of this was possible, that any of this was something that has actually occurred. So I want to get everyone's opinion. Do you think that we actually space travel? Do you think that from seeing Japan, from seeing these developed countries struggle to even attempt to go into space, was it something that even was accomplished? Or are we living on false hopes? But if it is to happen, I believe America will be the first. That's in my opinion. So let me know down in the comments below what you think about space and time travel, because we are entering a generation where innovation will be at its peak, and that they will be expecting at least time travel, which I believe is fully possible and easier than everyone thinks. Thank you for dealing with me on this day. I know I went on various rants, but you know how I rock. All rights reserved.